The problem is that most people aren't using peptides correctly, but it's not their fault. It's these so-called peptide experts out there who keep spreading this misinformation. And that's why today I'm going to clear up one of the biggest myths surrounding peptides. Hi, I'm Brenden Henry, the world's leading expert on peptide science and the founder of the Peptide Science Institute. I have been able to track down and translate nearly 1,000 studies at this point while making sense of all the downstream mechanisms and the synergies that make peptides so powerful. And today, I'm going to share one of the biggest untold truths with you. But first, for those who don't know, Professor Vladimir Khavinson is the researcher behind over 1,000 studies on peptides, and he's the creator of 41 bioregulator peptides. These are naturally derived peptides that don't require injections. Instead, they can be taken orally or intranasally and are uptaken by latin pep transporters. Once they're absorbed, they interact with these histone proteins, which control how your DNA is packaged into chromatin and chromosomes. And by making them less tightly packed, they're able to restore more youthful gene transcription. And they can also bind directly to promoter regions in your DNA, which enables RNA polymerase, which is what stimulates the production of proteins, which can then assist in healing and regeneration. Now, the biggest misconception about these peptide bioregulators is that they are tissue-specific, meaning they only target the organ from which they're derived from. For example, many people believe a liver peptide only works in the liver, and this is completely wrong. You see, the reality is way more complex than this, and I can give you some examples of it. If someone has chronic kidney disease, they may think that the kidney peptides, known as pilotax, would be the most beneficial ones to take. However, Ovogen, which is one of the liver peptides, has actually been shown to be massively beneficial to the kidneys, and perhaps even more so than the kidney peptides themselves. Not only does it have a direct effect on stimulating the kidney tissue, but by supporting the liver, you can also indirectly support the kidney. And it's the same with UDCA or TUDCA, which are bile acids, produced by your liver, and they support the liver health. It downstream affects the kidney, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. I mean, you actually have bile ducts which run from the liver to the pancreas and gallbladder, so it's obvious that it would support all of them. And by combining this type of holistic knowledge into a precision peptide protocol, you will just get better results. But for our clients we create health transformations for, there would be several things we look at here for anybody who has a liver or kidney problem. And for instance, we had one client who came to us with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And it turns out his diet is deficient in choline, and that's one thing which can drive the pathogenesis of it. Ali noticed this right away during a deep dive call with the client, despite this client's partner being a doctor and missing it entirely. So, also, we had a client who came to me who was a huge fan of Professor Vladimir Khavinson. Now, they had a severely damaged retina and a loss of vision after seeing no results from using the retina peptides, which are known as visolutin or retinalamine. But how come these retina peptides didn't work for them? Well, there are several reasons, and first, they didn't use a high enough dose or take it for a long enough period of time. Professor Khavinson has a documented series of case studies involving a multi-peptide approach to retina regeneration from various retina diseases. But the results were not showing up after a single month. They didn't even happen after 2 months. They took multiple months for actual visual improvements to show, and improvements to show in the scans as well. And this was following his full peptide protocols. Second, the retina benefits more from just retina peptides. There are other Khavinson's peptides, such as epitalin, which have proven to be effective in retinitis pigmentosa. And then we have pineolon and cristagen, which also play a big role here in the retina repair because they upregulate certain genes which are retina protective. And a good example of one of these genes is heat shock protein 70. Third, and most importantly, any attempt at retina regeneration is totally futile if there is a root cause driving the degeneration which is not corrected first or at least simultaneously. Take glaucoma, for instance. This is when intraocular pressure builds up to the point of causing optic nerve damage and loss of retinal receptors. There are indeed non-Khavinson's peptides as well, which are especially useful for regenerating the optic nerve, but it's important to note that the optic nerve damage is a side effect of glaucoma, and glaucoma is driven by central insulin resistance. So peptides like insulin, administered intraocularly for instance, are useful to compensate for insulin resistance, and peptides like carnosine are useful for the glycation, which is a consequence of insulin resistance. And I talked to Ali recently, who handles most of the coaching now since I'm so busy, and he was able to even reverse glaucoma just by managing diabetic complications alone. And this example I gave you with a client highlights how there are indeed deeper and interconnected factors that need investigation in order to build the best possible peptide stack, or just overall comprehensive stack in general. For example, Hypothyroidism can contribute to retinal impairments because thyroid hormones play a huge role in retinal cell differentiation. And this is why a deep dive call is so incredibly important, so we can know exactly how to best help you, so that you don't waste thousands of dollars on things that aren't right for you. But if you don't want that level of personalization, then Peptide Mastery is available at peptides.link, and it's the next best option since it has 60 precision peptide protocols, quick reference guides, cheat sheets, and 46 video modules with over 400 studies, all linked in the description sections. And my protocols incorporate the best strategies of Khavinson's peptides, but they include other peptides as well for all specific types of issues. Because look, there are a lot of peptides out there for the eyes, for instance. And if you had corneal abrasions, or if you even needed better healing from LASIK, then totally different peptides would be used for this purpose. I mean, it's not going to be the same retina peptides, you know? And it's not a one-type thing, and I'm just sorry to say this, but it really does require a customization depending on what your specific issue is. So again, the point of this video is that Khavinson's peptides are not entirely organ-specific. It's just an old myth based on old research. And let me tell you this story. When Khavinson first discovered these peptides, he created an extraction of certain peptides from an organ, such as cattle, less than 1 year old. And these were called the cytomaxes. And while they did have a very high level of tissue specificity overall, they still did have some minor crossover in other organs. But later on, when Khavinson started identifying these single small peptides that were present in the complex, which became known as cytogens, by the way, things changed. These turned out to be a lot less tissue specific and also have more crossover to other organs. For instance, epitalin, the pineal gland peptide, was able to reverse chromosomal abnormalities in the bone marrow and have an effect on retinal regeneration. Ovogen, the liver peptide, was able to stimulate regenerative processes in the kidney. And pineolon, which is the brain peptide, had largely systemic effects and even improved performance. And vilon, a thymus peptide, was able to improve mitochondrial genome in the heart. And there are just so many other examples I could give you too, but this is at least a few of them. And I even discovered a Khavinson's peptide that could increase mots-c levels, which is a mitochondrial-derived peptide, which is great for chronic fatigue, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and insulin resistance. So if you see someone, or even their girlfriends, selling personalized peptide protocols for thousands of dollars, I'd run far away from them, because they haven't done enough research to even grasp the basics of how these peptides work, and they don't understand the complex interactions between biological systems and how they are all related. Fortunately for you, if you want a reliable guide, Peptide Mastery offers 60 precision protocols, and if you're looking for a fully personalized program, you can check out scientificaugmentation.com. The link is in the description. That said, I currently don't have any more capacity to take on more clients right now, since I have so many already. And in fact, I barely have time to create new videos, which is why I feel like this one is kind of rushed. So if you're serious about getting results, you need to sign up with Ali. He's just as skilled as I am, and he's available right now. This has been Brenden Henry, the world's leading expert in peptide science, and I hope this video was helpful for you. Have a great day.